Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Looks like we got Daniel on here. Just wait for him to sign into the audio.
I didn't know you could share screens with WebEx. That's pretty cool. Like have them take control and you take it back. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I like using this one, because you can't do that with like Hangouts or anything like that.
Totally. Yeah.
But it's so glitchy.
It is, yeah.
It's a bit of a pain. Hang on, let me just ping him to see if he can get onto audio. Hi, Daniel.
Hello, Christina.
How's it going?
Good, yourself?
Good. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I think I can hear you as well, but I might get you to just test that out one more time.
Is this good?
Yeah, perfect.
It's pretty low for me. I'm hearing it actually better on like a bit of an echoey playback on your computer, Christina.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, like Daniel sounds a little bit low to me, but then it repeats and it's a little bit louder through so your computer's kind of amplifying it.
Oh, weird.
Bit of an echo.
Weird. I don't hear anything on my end, probably because it's coming from mine.
It works though. I'll still be able to understand. Yeah.
Okay. As long as you're able to hear everything okay, Daniel.
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Okay, awesome. Do you go by Daniel or Dan?
Daniel.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Oh, actually, it's getting a little bit faint again.
And yeah, I'm hearing the echo on my end now.
You are, hey? Let's see what we can do about that. 1 second. I think everything on my end is muted where it should be.
Are you playing through the speakers, Christina?
Sorry?
Or is your audio playing through the speakers?
On my computer, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's being echoed.
That's really strange.
Like it's probably not ideal for you to hit mute every time you're done talking, but that may help a little bit.
Okay. I'll try giving that a try. Hopefully, hopefully we can make it work. Let me know, Daniel, if it gets a little bit too echoey or anything like that.
Sure.
Okay. Well, thanks, though, for taking the time to meet with us. We really appreciate it. My name's Christina. I'm a UX researcher on the customer experience team. And I've got Dion on the line as well, which you probably noticed.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, Dion.
So I'll be asking the majority of questions, I guess. Dion will be observing and helping take some notes, and he'll probably pipe up here and there with some questions of his own. But I wanted to give you a little bit of context as to what we're doing and why. So as you know, ATB is reimagining our online business banking system for customers. And part of this effort is also providing our team members with the right kind of tools that you can rely on a day-to-day basis to help those clients and provide them with support and give them access to online banking. So we're really excited to show you the prototype. And what this is again, a prototype of a new version of what we're calling a team member admin console. So it's meant to replace the RM tool you're currently using.
Okay.
And hopefully replace all of the tools you're currently using with that regard, but we'll kind of see how that goes. As I mentioned, what we're going to show you here is a prototype, and it's just that. Some stuff you can click on, some stuff you can't click on. It's by no means fully functional yet. So you'll just have to kind of bear with us on that. And I'll gather your feedback by way of having you just do some everyday work tasks using the new design. And as you're doing those tasks, I probably interject here and there with some questions and stop you and ask you, how you're understanding certain things and if certain things make sense to you. I have a few things to note before we jump in. So the setup that I have going on right now, myself, Dion, and yourself, I'm going to be recording the session. That's to help me make notes. But we also have, in an effort to be agile and to get your insights out as quickly as possible to those people who can make the changes, we also have some of the product people responsible for this system viewing remotely through a YouTube live link. It's a private link, so that won't go any further than them, and you can kind of just ignore the fact that they're there. But really, that's just so we can make the quickest changes possible. So I'll just make sure I have your consent for that, and if you don't feel comfortable with a recording or anything else there, I can certainly disable that. So please let me know.
Sorry, what are you recording? Just the audio?
So I'm recording our audio, but also I'll be sharing screens with you momentarily. So what will also show up is the screen share and your mouse movements. So that just lets me go back and figure out kind of where you were clicking and those sorts of things.
Sure.
Okay. So I'll add on to this as well. I don't really have any kind of personal stake in the success of this, so it's impossible to hurt my feelings.
Okay.
I just want you to be as brutally honest about your thoughts as you can.
Okay.
Okay. Well, do you have any questions about the setup or anything we're doing here before we jump in?
No, I don't.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll get you on the prototype, but before I show that to you, I just have a couple questions to put things into context for me. So tell me what a typical workday looks like for you.
I go to like sales meetings or a sales call with the relationship manager. Based on what we gather from that, I'll come back and review all the legal documents, do the initial setups like the ATB online, your EFT. Depending on what they request, there is that single admin or that dual admin setup.
Okay.
Maintenance requests, maybe making changes, adding accounts.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like mainly the big thing is the ATB online enrollments and EFT service.
Okay. So tell me about some of the tools you're currently using to help you get these jobs done.
So all the initial setup, like putting in the information, is done in CRM.
Okay.
Once we enable the fields in CRM, then we can move over to RM, complete the setup, the profile, the user ID, password, enable the services. And after that is all completed, we send out an email to the client.
Okay.
With all the login information.
Okay. So thinking about some of the tools that you're currently using, what parts of those tools are working very well for you currently?
Don't have any major complaints on them. Enhancements would be good. That would be about it.
Okay, what kind of enhancements would you like to see?
Well, for example, if that new tool can generate the user ID and password.
Okay, so that you don't have to pick them yourself?
Yes, and like just to send it to the client, like it can generate, here's a user, here's your password. So while we're in the tool, instead of having to go to our email and start typing up,
Right.
it'll be great if the system can generate that information based on email we set up in, let's say, CRM.
Okay. What other things about the current tools that you're using that kind of frustrates you?
So when we're doing like a reset on an account, we have to use a separate tool to like reset the login information.
Okay.
So like where it's managed, the phone number, security, Q&A, the activity status if the account is logged out. All of that is done in a separate tool. So it'd be good if everything is managed within the same tool.
Okay. Any other things that come to mind?
So like I rely heavily on emulating exactly what the client sees, because right now even though we turn this on in RM, there's not a guarantee that the client can see it. So always have to emulate them to confirm that the stuff is actually showing up properly.
Okay. And what are some of the ways that you're doing that?
So like in RM, when we put in the admin user, there's an emulation option, and it'll just load an online profile based on what the client is seeing.
Okay.
But the tool does not display, for example, the roles that an admin may have set up for users or what access those specific users have.
Oh, okay, that the admin set up on their end.
Yeah, so we have to emulate to like confirm any of that information.
Okay, and how often are you having to do that?
The majority of requests, usually like, for example, if there's a new account or EFT,
okay,
a user may call in and say, hey, I don't see this or I don't have access. So we usually need to verify if their admin did grant them admin access that they can do this themselves, or if this is something that we really did back to their system admin.
Oh, okay, so it's mostly like a one-off user coming and saying, hey, I don't see this, and you're trying to figure out, well, do they even have permission to see this or not?
Yes, and which is typically we're dealing with one-off users.
Okay.
When there's a new feature added, like wires or something like that.
Okay. And so you mentioned one of the things, well, a couple of things that you wish could be improved in the new system. What are some other things that you would like to see implemented into a new admin console? So think blue sky here, things that would really help save you time in your day, make you more efficient.
It would be good to, right now with the RM tool that we use and we emulate, it gives us full access to the system. So we can technically process stuff. And if like an admin checks the activity log, it shows like, it looks like they're the ones logging onto the system when actually it's us.
Okay.
So that the new system should just be like an emulation tool, and we should not be able to like process or make any changes on a profile.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So it should just be like an overview, basically.
Okay, but by emulating, you have a little bit too much access into their system.
Well, you have full access to their system.
Okay. How often has that been a problem in the past?
It's never been a problem because it's monitored here. Like everything we do is monitored, and a report is sent to our manager.
Okay.
But I can see like maybe accidentally someone clicked into something and processed or.
Looks like we lost Dion, but that's okay. We'll keep going.
Okay. But yeah, I just think the biggest thing is like, because there might be some company where they actually track everything that users are doing. And if they see constant login and the admin says, well, I am not logging onto the system.
I understand.
Why is it showing these? Then yeah, we have to explain to them, well, based on you calling in, we emulated your account or something like that.
Yeah, this was the only way we can help you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the prototype now. Okay. And as I mentioned, I'm going to have you just complete some everyday tasks as you might do. And while you do them, I'm going to have you think out loud as often as you can. So this allows me just to know what you're thinking, what you're experiencing. You know, if something pops out as interesting, please let me know. Or on the flip side, if you see something that you think is odd, please let me know that as well. And I want to make it absolutely clear that we're testing a prototype, not you by any means.
Yeah.
So it might feel like a quiz here and there, but we're not trying to do that. There are no right or wrong answers.
Okay.
I'm also going to avoid answering some of your questions as much as I can, just because we want to see how you would naturally interact with this thing as though nobody else was here.
Okay.
So I'll try to kind of leave any answers to any big questions till the end, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to share screens with you now. And just let me know when you're able to see that.
Yeah, it's up now.
Okay, perfect. So let's say that you logged in to the new system, and this was the page that you landed on. What I want you to do as we start going through some of these tasks is I want you to forget the current tools that you're using. So there is no RM, their CRM is somewhere else. This is what is available to you. So let me paint a scenario here. You receive some paperwork that ATB has a new client called Adventus Inc. You'd like to check whether Adventus Inc. has a BP number yet, and if they do, you want to add them onto online business banking. Can you show me how you would go about figuring this out? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you mouse control, and you just let me know once you're able to move that mouse. Okay, perfect.
So I know you said forget the old thing. The problem is when there's a new client,
Okay.
we always go by BP because there could be numerous entries where there's 4 or 5 with the same name. Because someone went into the branch, they created a BP. A CSO created a BP. Some other group created a BP.
Okay.
So,
well, let's assume that you want to check on that and you want to see how many are actually there. How would you do that just having the company name alone, which is Adventus?
So I'll just usually do a search for the name.
Okay.
So it is ADVINTIS.
Yep.
Adventus Inc.
Tell me about some of the information you can see there. Oh, sorry, I might take you back just one.
Oh.
You're too quick for me. Here we go. Okay, if you click once, you should be able to take the mouse back. But just talk to me about a little bit about what you see, about the different things that you're being shown here.
Business type, BP, the address, a phone number and file, and the online platform status.
Okay.
So if I know we got it, then I can assume based on this, would be the correct one because it's not enrolled.
Okay.
And that's the only company with that specific name.
Okay. So mentioning what you said about, one company might have multiple BP numbers or things like that. Does being able to view this right off the bat help you in that situation?
Yes.
Okay, why is that?
Well, it doesn't come down to a game of me figuring out, okay, I see all these names, but is one a user, is one a business, like is one just something that was created, or I don't know, like someone came into a branch or something.
Okay.
But it just saves time on me having to figure it out and contact other team members.
Okay. And you mentioned, it sounded like you noticed the business versus user. What do you think the difference is between those two things?
Well, it just shows the entity. So if I'm touching it, I'm not setting up an actual user per se that's on the system.
Okay.
We set up the initial, which is the business profile, and the users fall under there.
Okay.
I'm not. Well, okay, yeah, you said don't. Okay, so yeah, no, I think that's good that it shows what type it is.
Any information that you don't see here that you might like to see, just sort of at a glance?
Address, an email address field.
Email?
Or so when a BP is created, there's usually the main person who is typically an authorized signer that is going to be the admin.
Okay.
If it displayed their email address, it's also good for verification.
Okay. Any items you think that are just not so useful to see right here at a glance?
Let's see. I think that you captured most of it. As I said, the email field would help as well.
Okay. That's great feedback. Thank you. What I'm going to get you to do now is to continue the path that you wanted to go down, and I'm going to get you to add Adventus as a user on online banking. Okay. And just talk to me about what you're seeing here.
So company name, address, and here's the email.
Okay.
Contact type.
How useful are seeing the contacts there for you?
It's great because dealing with multiple lines of business,
Mhm.
if there's a question, then I know who to go ask. So I know who the associate director is and who the relationship manager or director slash is.
Okay.
So then I know whose portfolio I'm touching and who to ask
Okay.
if I have questions about stuff. The breakdown here. So, director sign. Yeah, this is really clean.
Yeah.
I like the way it's presented.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about this family tree. How do all these businesses relate?
So with our typical setup, when there's multiple entities, we add them, we create them, and then we link them to the online.
Okay.
Here you come in, if so after I set it up, let's say someone had to support this client, they can take a look and see, okay, here's a parent company, here's all the subs, here's the signers, here's the admin. It just makes it easier for them to support and figure stuff out instead of having to ask, okay, what company is this connected to, or who do I need to contact? It's very straightforward and presented properly.
Okay. And can you tell me about some situations where you're dealing with a particular case, let's say, and that seeing this is useful for you?
We just enrolled, let's say, for example, may have been an admin change and the new person called in.
Okay.
If I'm on the screen and I'm like speaking and it's not Bob, then I was like, okay, well, you're not the new admin, or then I'll confirm, are you actually a user on the system, or are you supposed to be the new appointed admin?
Okay.
So this takes out a lot of the guesswork.
Okay.
Same with if there's like, we opened this new company and we are supposed to see it online based on this. And if I look on here and I see it, I was like, I can confirm, yes, it is enrolled, or no, it's not.
And how often are you in this situation where you're needing to link accounts from subsidiary companies to parent companies?
Almost every day.
Almost every day?
Yeah.
And what are the critical pieces of information for you there to do that?
So when we're doing the linkage, we need to know the actual parent.
Okay.
And the main thing is linking the parent, because all the other setup is not done by us.
Okay.
So by inputting the signers and stuff, that's all handled by the CSO team. So my responsibility is, if I'm on a sub company, I just create a linkage that says as ATV Online parent Adventus. The issue with our current system is if they have a lot of linkages, it goes to multiple pages,
I see.
and the support team may miss something and say they don't see the account, or you have to keep scrolling, or you have to go to like third or fourth page to see it.
Oh, that seems like a complex process.
It is, and it's also not very clean. You have to sort it by default. It doesn't sort it based on, let's say, sub companies or account holders or anything like that. So it's just all over the place.
So what's the largest number of, I think you mentioned you can be in situations where there are multiple businesses. What's the largest number that you've encountered?
I think we have one pair, what is it? Maybe like 70 plus.
Oh, wow.
So like Lantern, we have Midnight Financial, which might be about 20 or 30. We have quite a few large ones in Edmonton.
Okay. And you'd be flipping back and forth through different pages for each one of those.
Yeah, so if someone is like, hey, is this company here? Then click on page 10, because it tends to drop it to the bottom. You have to go to the very last page.
Okay. And so what's the most useful variable there or piece of information that would help you most quickly be able to link accounts when you're dealing with so many businesses? Like you mentioned, sorting is kind of an issue.
Yeah, sorting. So like if I can, like the loading right now, so if it has like the way it's shown here, like parent and then the sub,
Okay.
if that's the structure, it follows like all the subs. So it's on the first thing and I'm not scrolling. I
Okay.
think that's more important to see than followed by like the directors, signers, admin, stuff like that.
Okay. Is
So the
there,
way it is, and you can expand on it. I think that's very good.
is there any information here that's missing that you might like to see?
So this is just the name. Oh, so for on this page, it's very clean and there's no confusion as to what I'm seeing.
Okay. Let me get you to continue on with the process.
So by looking at this, I am any account that shows if I turn it on will be displayed on their online profile.
Okay. And so let's say this particular client, they don't want all of their bank accounts displayed for them. They just want to sort of port in the operating one and operating two accounts. How would you do that?
Yes, I would just turn off the other. I would just turn off the additional accounts.
Okay.
And I like where there's an option where I can just do it. I don't have to go through one by one. Because if there's 50 plus accounts, that's going to take time to do it one by one.
Yeah, there could be a lot, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the level of information you're given about these accounts?
Account type balance. Good. So some of these accounts usually we have interest programmed on them. So like our pay-as-you-go with interest on the
Right.
CFS side. It would be good to show what the default one is, then confirm with the director, hey, is this or are you guys going to change it?
Okay. For those accounts where there's interest, sorry?
Yeah, where there's interest arrangements,
Okay.
it would be good to show a breakdown of what they're currently getting for interests.
Okay. And how would you like to see that information?
So between the account number and available balance, they could be a field that just says interest conditions or interest pricing.
Okay. And why is that an important field for you to be able to communicate with the clients?
Because usually they may make a different arrangement saying, okay, based on the amount of money we have with you,
Okay.
they may have a different arrangement with the director about what interest they're getting. So if I have the paperwork and it shows like a price and instruction, please program 3%, and I'm on the screen and I see 1.5,
Right.
then I can go back and let them know, hey, we need to get this updated, or I can submit a request to our pricing group to update the interest conditions. That way there's not like a repeat call from the client claiming that they're not getting the correct interest, and then we have to go back and recalculate and apologize, and it just makes for multiple touch points, whereas if we get it correct the first time, we take that away.
Okay. So just another piece of information that would allow you to help that client better.
Yes.
Okay.
So like a one-time setup, everything is done and there's no going back and making adjustments. Because those entries with credit interest back and forth, it doesn't look very good.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything else that you might like to see?
If it gives us, it would be nice if it gave us the, let me just try before. Yeah, if it gives us the ability to name the account,
Okay, like in
that
what
would be
way?
good. So instead of operating one, the client may say, hey, I want this account to be called payroll. Now, although they have the ability to change that on their end,
Right?
if we can, so right now we can do this in a backend in SAP. I can just set the name here based on my conversation with the client or the director.
Mhm.
I can just name it for them. So once they get access to online, they don't have to go through this whole process.
Okay, so just another
So it
thing
saves
to
them
kind of help.
time. Yeah, just something to help. So here you go. All they need to worry about is start making transactions instead of now they have to go name accounts and do that stuff.
Right. Okay, great. Well, if you feel satisfied with this page, we're going to keep on going with the process. Okay. So what's going on with this step? What are you being asked to do?
Okay, so here account details transfer. So here's where we want to enable the services. So default services like Interact email money transfer. Currently we turn this on by default
Okay.
because it comes in handy for most of the clients.
Okay.
I think any default service should be just automatically enrolled.
Like which services should be on default?
Transfers,
Okay.
Interact email money transfer, with the exception of the bulk.
Okay.
I would have this on transfers.
So let's say in this situation, it's good feedback to know that we would want that kind of list of default services, but let's say that they only want transfers enabled.
Yep, then we would just turn off the e-transfer.
Okay.
And again, because I can just turn it off instead of going individual, that is great. But if there's just they want the ability to receive, I also have the option to control that, which is actually ideal.
Okay, why is that?
Time saving.
Fair enough.
And again, I'm not missing like clicking. Sometimes you're clicking in, it looks like it's saving and it's not. So it's good. By it being grayed out here, I know it is, and it's not just like, well, is it on or off? There's no confusion.
Okay. So for the transfers we said that the client wants enabled, they do have some stipulations. So they would like to have no limit on the amount of transfers being sent, but they do want each transfer to have at least 3 approvals. How would you do this?
Okay. And again, it's a very straightforward screen.
Okay. What do you think approval type means?
Sequence. Maybe I would assume like you could set yeah. So like for the 3 of them, maybe there's a CEO, CFO, someone like that. You could probably arrange it by who has priority.
Okay. What do you mean by priority?
Let's say the CFO goes in and is like, this looks good. He may be able to bypass the required 3.
Okay.
This is what I'm assuming, but I know that's not what it is. The
Yeah, no,
approval
that's
type does not make sense to me.
which one doesn't?
This approval type option for parallel or sequential.
Yeah, and you're not the first one to be a little bit confused by those labels. What the intent is that a parallel approval would be, so let's say we have 3 approvals altogether. So that would be sent out to all 3 of those approvers. It doesn't matter which order they approve in, but let's say that a sequential approval type means that, you know, the controller has to approve first, and once the controller's approved, then the CFO approves, etc.
Okay.
So knowing what you know now, how valuable is being able to set that up, do you think?
I think it's going to create confusion.
Okay, can I get you to
Because
elaborate?
usually if there is something to be done and like there is a rush, maybe the CFO is the first one in the system
Okay,
and has to wait on user 3 and user 3 is busy doing something else, then it's going to hold up the process for them.
okay, yeah, I definitely see that point.
Yeah, the sequential option, I really cannot see a benefit for it because again, with the day-to-day activities for most companies, they don't have time where two of these guys are holed up because of one of the other ones.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't need to have like approval type. I think once you set 3, it goes out to all 3 and it just needs to be approved by all 3 and that should be sufficient.
Okay, awesome. Let me get you to continue on with this process, assuming that we've done everything we need to here.
Let's, and it shows select the accounts for transfer. So based on what I'm looking at, it shows like you can transfer between any of the following accounts.
Yeah, and because it's just a prototype, like in a real world situation, it would have only filtered through those 2 accounts that you chose.
The 2 that I selected.
Yeah, just because it's a prototype, it's kind of quirky, so it brought a couple extra over.
Yeah. Bill pay. Also, like just like having the bill pay option should be default.
Default on?
Yeah, so like
Okay.
we currently have on our current system, we have like there's some default services. So bill pay is one of them that's turned on by default. Fee statements.
Right.
If we can sort of mimic what we have, or maybe when it's coming to finalize, check with us to see what are the default services that should be on regardless of what.
Okay. And you're definitely not the first to mention that too, so that's good feedback.
So because there might be, I think we only have 2 clients where they specify exactly what to turn off. And that's like a one-off situation where I'll say 99% of the clients,
right,
they utilize all the default services.
Okay, that's really, really good
So
to
like
know.
transfers, bill payments, email money transfer, fee statements.
Okay, so only when we're getting to like EFTs and wires and those sorts of things.
Yeah, so anything where there's actual big payments, sort of wires, EFTs, one-offs.
Okay.
Where we need to like confirm with them, have agreements, make sure they understand the CPA guidelines. Those are the ones we do not turn on automatically.
Okay, that's very good to know. Thank you.
Okay, should I proceed?
Yeah, please do. Okay, and same as last time, if you can talk to me about what this step is asking you to do.
Okay, so assign administrator. So based on my paperwork, I would just pick the online administrator.
Okay.
It also shows directors. So if they wanted 2 admin, I have the option to select an additional person here, which is good.
Okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts on being able to do that? You said that's good, hey?
It's good because our current system lacks a true multi-admin function.
Okay.
We have to create first, so I'll have to create a BP for myself. So I can give you an example. I did a setup for Sun Life Financial.
Okay.
And because they're a bigger organization, they understood how multi-admin works.
Right.
But the drawback to it was they were able to see the additional ID I created to create those admins. And because they were so specific there, like the agreement didn't state anything about having a third user on the system, even though that user was disabled, which is the one I created to create those admins,
right,
it still shows up for them.
Okay,
So it was unsettling for them to see this additional user on the system.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in this case where I can just click people and I'm not having to, create an account that these people are going to see.
Okay.
And then create. So it's good that I could just go in here, check, and I also know their position in the company. So it's like if someone said Amanda Brown, it's like, okay, just to confirm, that's Amanda Brown, the director, and not Amanda Brown, that is another employee in the company with the same name.
Okay.
So I like how it gives a relationship here.
Well,
Also the status if they're enrolled or not.
let's bring in Bob Marley. So for now, we just have the one admin.
Yeah, so I would assume by clicking on him, that means yes, he's going to be enrolled as the admin.
Okay. Looks like you're kind of searching for something else.
Oh, just reading the little blurb at the top just to see
Okay.
what it's saying.
Okay.
So another thing would be as I noticed here, it says an administrator has access to all ATB features, including manages users, roles, accounts, service level.
Mm-hmm.
A big ask we've been getting is we should have the ability to create an admin. All they can do or their responsibilities is for creating other users and managing those users. So they should not have access to accounts or services.
Like for the particular users that they set up?
Yeah, so like in a true admin role, like if I'm admin 1, my role is just to create. So I will be, okay, I'm going to create you as admin number 2, who could then maybe, so we want to delegate. So some companies want to delegate who does what.
Right.
Admin 1 can only create users.
Okay.
And maybe roles. And then admin 2 can only assign existing users and roles to, let's say, create the roles and assign those users to those roles. And then admin 3 could manage maybe accounts and services.
Okay. So to have that kind of separation of duties.
Yes, which is the biggest question we get from most of our top clients.
Okay.
They do want to see that separation where one person does not have full access to the system.
Right. I can see why that would be important for some clients. Yeah. So is that something?
And maybe with that option, if there is a break, like how it has enrollment status, there should be maybe another tab showing based on what I just explained. If there's a second, like another tab showing what that user can or can't do. So what their level is, let's say it's just managing users.
Right.
Something displaying what their entitlements are.
Okay. So is that something that you would want to set up for the client, or would you think the ideal situation would be for the client to be able to set up those kind of separation of duties?
The client should have that ability, but we also should have the ability, maybe if they specifically ask us to, with this setup, please make sure Bob can only manage users and then Amanda does everything else.
Okay.
We should have that option, but we should also give them the option. They can either manage it if it's like a really large company and they want that separation from the get-go. We should have the ability to manage that on our end.
Okay. That's really helpful. Thanks. Okay. So if you're feeling comfortable with what's here, we'll get you to go on to the next. Perfect. What's this step all about?
So again, it's verifying everything. We have our admin set up.
Okay.
The 2 accounts, which based on it shows more, but it would show the 2 accounts.
Yeah, it should only show the 2.
Yeah, the service we set up without any limits.
Yeah.
Any enrolled services. Assigned administrator. Yep, so this screen is good. Yep, so it just gives a breakdown. And it gives me the chance to just, yes, confirm everything I just did is correct.
Okay. So assuming everything is good to go here, what would you do?
Yeah. And then I'll just go complete.
Tell me about what just happened.
Sorry, one more thing to add. So
sure.
Maybe after the complete, this screen should have, because I just set up the admin, it should have somewhere now on the same screen, like if I scroll down to the bottom after hitting complete, where I can generate a user name and password. That is then going to be sent to Bob.
Do you see, just based on what's in front of you, whether Bob already has one or not?
I see his username, yes. But it doesn't, we don't need to see their password. I just need to see, yes, they're active. We have an email address. So based on the email address, we should be able to generate this username and a temporary password and just send that to Bob.
Okay, so what's happened here is instead of the team member having to do this step, what's happened is the system has automatically generated a username for Bob.
Okay.
And you may not have noticed the little green banner at the bottom, but what's happened?
Successfully. Oh, sorry. Okay, it was sent. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the Bob was sent an automatic email from the system with his username, his password, and asking him actually to set that up and set up a user profile for himself.
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about being able to do this? I think you mentioned kind of at the beginning of our talk something along these lines.
It cuts down on the time it takes for us to now go compose an email and all of that stuff. One thing I could add though is it should also give us the ability to create a username, because for example, we may go like Adventus admin. Some companies specify, like Bob may specify as to, he doesn't want his name, or he wants a particular name like Adventus admin, BM, his initial.
Okay.
We should have the ability to either use a system generated name or to input the name ourselves.
Okay, so in the case where
doing the complete part.
Right. So in the case where they want just a generic username, maybe not tied to a specific person.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, assuming that everything is good to go and you've completed it, what do you think you would expect to see if you were to click View Company Details?
So I would expect to see a full overview. So accounts, all the enrolled services, a breakdown of the parent, the sub relationships, all the signers on the accounts, their relationship.
Okay.
So like CFOs, stuff like that.
Okay.
The limits again that we set in place.
And what if you were to select enroll another company? What do you think you would see?
It would just take me back to the main screen where I put in do a search for the name or the BP number.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now before I take you any further is I'm going to set up another scenario for you.
Yep.
So let's say as you were finishing this task, you received a phone call from an existing client who needs some help with their online services. All the information this client wants to give you is their username. How might you go about finding the BP number for this client based on that information alone?
So I would typically not, I'll leave my work as is so I don't like lose the settings, open a new tab.
Okay.
Because this is a test, can I run multiple, the same one?
Well, let's just assume that that you've got this one kind of going here. Like, what would you do to finish this one off to make you feel like you wouldn't have to necessarily open up another tab?
If I get a call and I'm in the middle of something, I usually like set a timeline. I'm like, okay, can you give me 15 minutes and just finish this up?
Oh, okay.
I'll take their information, so like the username. I'll complete my enrollment here.
Okay.
So since this one is completed, I would just go enroll in another company.
Okay.
But then I would go a search. So if I click advance, then I would go here and do a search based on the username provided.
I noticed you tried to click users.
Yeah, but it didn't come up.
Okay. Do you see another way you might be able to surface a field where you can search for username?
Well, it already says business and user, so I can use either or.
Okay.
So I can just search his name here. But because I wanted to limit my I didn't want it to generate everything. I just wanted to go specifically search for user instead of pulling up users and businesses with the same name.
Yeah, it's really useful to see where you kind of instinctively went to go. I know it's not hooked up yet, but that's really useful to see. Did you notice, I'm just going to take the mouse for a second. Did you notice this little thing here?
Oh, customize field. Okay. Yeah.
And if you click once, you should be able to take the mouse back. There we go.
Okay, so yeah, I did. Remove the information. For example, we don't search by debit cards. CFS clients don't have debit cards per se.
Okay. Which other ones would you remove?
I don't search anything by email address. So it's company name, username, or BP number.
Okay.
As the BP is internal, I would just have these two fields.
Okay.
But it didn't change.
And again, it didn't change, but that's just because it's a prototype.
But that's just the way I work.
Okay.
So maybe the phone number is useful for another teammate if someone calls in and is like, hey, I can't recall my user ID, then it could be like, okay, well, we can search either by your email or your phone number, see if that person is even on our system.
Okay. So having
So
seen both, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so just having the customizable options here, it's very good.
Okay.
Account number EF. Yeah, it provides quite a bit of options, so there's truly no confusion. There's multiple ways to find it.
And so having seen this sort of advanced view and that basic view, which do you prefer? Which do you think you would use more often?
Let's see, basic. I typically would be using, I would say 70% of the time I'll be using the basic, unless there's someone I'm speaking with that is not sure. But
Okay.
the way we are structured here, it's like most of the relationship, I know who I'm speaking with or who's calling me,
Okay.
what company they're calling from. So I kind of I'm organized in a way that I keep like track of companies, BPs, like who I'm speaking with or who I set up stuff for. So I always have that to reference from.
Okay, so you keep like a list on your own of clients that you deal with regularly.
Yes. So I have like all the portfolios and stuff like that, and I have access to it. But having the advanced option again is a good thing.
Okay.
Just because I do that, but another teammate may not. And if, as you said, John Doe calls in and is like, "Hey, my user is J Doe," instead of them having to figure out, okay, what company, they can just use the advanced search option.
Okay. And yeah, that's all we're interested in really is just how individual team members might like to use the system for their own purposes. I'm going to get you to do one more task here. So let's say that you got a phone call from John Doe and he works at Adventures Inc. So he's a recent hire and was just added onto online banking. Unfortunately, he says he never received an email to set up his account profile. How would you go about resending that email to John Doe?
So we'll do a search for him.
Okay.
So I'm assuming when the system is functional, I can either just hit enter or I can do search.
Okay.
And it should generate the information.
And so let's assume that I know the screen didn't change, but those are your results underneath.
Okay. So you said Adventures Inc.
That's right, yeah.
John Doe is active. Oh, pending enrollment. And I'll just resend the verification to him.
Okay.
And then just confirm with him, hey, we have email address jd@abc.com. Is this correct? And maybe I'll also tell him to check because we see this a lot with the email filters. Maybe putting it in his junk email.
Yeah, fair enough. Sometimes those things get caught in places we don't want them to go, right?
Yeah, so then I'll just resend it.
Okay. Based on what you see, what else are you able to do to help John?
I can reset his password if he doesn't remember it. So if he said for enhance, he's like, oh, sorry, they assigned me a new mobile device.
Okay.
I can do that. Generate backup code. I'm not too sure what this is for.
Okay. What else are you able to do?
First name, last name, user. Show us his name, info. I can see what he has access to, so his accounts, which is great. I don't need to emulate to confirm any of this.
Okay.
Service limits, any limits in place. His role, which is good. So I can confirm with him if there's something he's saying. I'll like, well, based on your setup, you have access to this or you don't have access to that.
Okay.
Audit trail. Yeah, I can confirm if he's logging in or not because, yeah, we have cases where a client is like, hey, I just logged in and I didn't see this. I can always confirm here and be like, are you positive you're logging in? Based on our system, there is no record of you logging in. Can we confirm the website you're going to?
Okay.
It shows active, its role, company. So it gives a good overview.
Anything
I
you
can
might
answer questions quickly here, so that's good.
like to see here but you don't see?
Service levels. Oh, it seems like it captured. What is this? It captures the required information.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I think there's one thing. The Q&A, the system Q&A. So I'm not too sure in the new environment if we're going to utilize that, where they have that 5 questions and answers.
Oh, the security questions?
Yeah,
Okay, so you might like to expect to see that then, hey?
if they're using that, we should have some way here to reset those questions. Sometimes they get hung up on one question.
Okay.
I can be like, okay, I can delete this one question. Now you need to set up this question, or I can delete all the questions.
That's really good
And
feedback.
yeah, so that's assuming the new system is gonna utilize that Q&A part.
So let's say that while you're on the phone, John Doe also wants to change the transaction limits for e-transfers for the whole company. So assuming that you've already checked and John is authorized to do this, how would you help him?
In the existing world, we do not make changes based on user requests. It has to go through the administrator.
Okay. Well, let's say that John, we've switched him now. Now he's the system admin.
Oh, we switch him and he wants to make the changes.
Yeah, so he wants to change the transaction limits for the whole company. What were you expecting to see when you clicked options?
I want to see if like what drop downs is like edit or something
Okay.
like that's in here.
Okay.
So this is really just an overview. So let me see if I go to account.
So
So this again is overview.
I might guide you a little bit here. Right now, what you're looking at are all of the accounts that John Doe has access to.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is take a look at all of the services that Adventures Inc. has access to.
Oh, so you have to go back to the parent to make those changes. You cannot make it on the user.
Yeah, it seems like that wasn't necessarily apparent right away, hey?
No.
Okay. So let me actually help you out with this a little bit because it's a bit of a process to get back. Just go to my secret menu. There we go. Okay.
So then on the system, if we have to make change, it would be like, for example, if I was on his name, that I just clicked on the maybe the business partner or the name, and it'll take me back to the main instead of having to go like back or something like that.
Do you mean here?
So yeah, here I should be able to click there to access that company.
Okay, that's really good feedback. So from here, how would you go about changing the transaction limits for e-transfers for the whole company?
So I'll go under service and limits.
Okay.
And I'll make the changes here and here if necessary.
And it might not let you
Okay.
just because it's the prototype being prototypey, but
Oh, okay.
but that would be where you would go, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
So that makes sense. Yeah, would just be for navigation purposes if you could just click when you're on a user that wherever the company name is, if you can click and it'll take you directly to that main page.
yeah, that would be a really good shortcut. So while you're here, though, you remember that there was another employee who works for Adventures Inc. that you haven't finished enrolling as a user. Can you tell me how you would be able to tell who that is?
I would go to users.
Okay.
And I'll see who's not assigned. Or, for example, Johnny here is not, well, it's a draft, so it wasn't even saved.
Okay.
I would click on him and then continue.
So assume, again, just because it's a prototype, but his first name would have piped through here. And let me get you to continue on the process of just adding him in. So let's say his name is Johnny Rocket. And you can type whatever in the email field. It's not important.
So based on the paperwork, this would like on the main profile, I guess I could see if he is or if he's not.
Yeah, like what do you think that is, authorized ATV contact?
So for example, if there's like something changed on our end or there's a return payment,
Okay.
it means that this client is authorized to contact us to make changes on behalf of that company.
Okay.
So in this situation, are we assuming he is or he's not?
Yeah, we can assume that he is. And let's say Johnny's a manager.
Let's see what happens.
What are you looking at here?
Oh, I just wanted to see what other options it give me if I clicked on
Okay.
the arrow. So this is just a breakdown of. Verification.
So I know that adding a new user is not something necessarily that team members are able to do right now for our customers. What are your thoughts on being able to do this?
It's a good option to have. We do highly encourage, based on, I know there might be some legal stuff we don't add additional users, that is all managed internally by those companies.
Okay.
Just because we have, like, it would be accountable for us if we set up a user that was not supposed to be there or something like that. We don't know the workings of most of those companies.
Okay. Sounds like some red
but just
flags
having
are coming up.
Yeah, I think there may be some legal issues around us creating additional users on the system.
Okay.
It should only we should be only creating admin and not additional users. So like just random users like these.
Okay.
It should be something managed internally by that company.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, because
And-
it just, for example, we set this user up based on some instruction that may have came from him. And then he processed the wire, and then the system admin was like, hey, why did John send this out? Like, who authorized it?
Fair
In the
enough.
CFS space anywhere, we would have a lot of challenges with this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to know, though, that some of these things are coming to mind as you do this. So I
Yeah, we
just
should just be creating the higher level users, and they are responsible for the additional users.
okay. So we're right at 2:01 here, and this was the last task that I was going to get you to do. But I'm curious if you have any final thoughts about anything that we've talked about or anything that you've seen.
No, I like the simplicity. So from start to finish, it cuts down a significant portion of the time it takes us to do stuff right now.
Well,
And
that's good to
everything is
hear.
managed in one screen. So it seems like this process will be way more efficient.
Well, that's good to hear. And we do have some work still to do on it based on the feedback that we've received from you and your teammates. So thank you so much for your time doing that.
No problem.
What I'm
But
gonna
yeah, it's great to see the way it looks, and yeah, if it continues down that road, I'm all for it. It's better than what we have right now.
Okay, great. Well, certainly your feedback is going to help with that. What I'm going to do is, I don't know if you noticed, I sent like a little survey link ahead of time last week.
Yeah, I did that one this morning.
Perfect. Yeah. So that one was asking you to think about the tools you're currently using to do this work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a different link through the chat right now. And it's going to be the same set of questions, except now I want you to think about the system you were just looking at. So if possible, just let me confirm that you can open that survey with no problem. And then once you have a little bit of time, if you could fill that out for me.
Sure. So this one now is, sorry, about the new tool?
Yeah, so now thinking about, knowing that it's just a prototype and there was some glitches here and there, but thinking about using this tool and then answer those questions.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, thank you so much for all of your time. Like I said, your feedback's going to go a long way.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, have a good day, Daniel.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye.